Do you remember the early 2000s animated Bratz movies? The ones that were super unhinged and weird?
Quick, inhale and twist size 0. Rocket!
If you don't know what Bratz is, if you live under a rock, Bratz is a doll franchise. They were meant to rival Barbie. They have a lot of animated movies, kind of like Barbie does.
Reason number 46 why you should let me ride.
I don't have any memory about the plots for these movies, so I decided to revisit them, starting with the fan favorite, Bratz Rock Angelz. This movie released alongside a collection of very stylish dolls, all wearing the same outfits from the movie, of course.
Let me pretend I care. Okay, I'm done.
There was also some video games that came out at the time and an album with the music from the movie, so it seemed like they really wanted to cash out on this era of Bratz at the time. And for a really good reason, because Bratz Rock Angelz, they invented rock music. My Chemical Romance who? All American Rejects who? Green Day who? This is Bratz Rock Angelz, okay? They were the blueprint for rock music. And if you don't know who the Bratz Rock Angelz are, that's fine, because I showed up on your homepage for a reason. I'm here to teach you about culture, about art, about what rock really means. I don't know what to think about. I'm gay and upset. If you're new here, hi, my name's Casey, and this is an ongoing series where I make fun of movies. I just want to say that I really believe this movie was written in 20 minutes because I still don't really know what it's about, but I'll do my best to explain the plot, okay? So basically the Bratz decide to start a fashion magazine, but after so many twists and turns, they end up as a rock band. Does that make sense? No? I'm sorry. This movie is also very easy to find online, so I highly recommend getting some friends and having a girls' night and yelling at the TV while watching this movie or any of the Bratz movies. I'm telling you, it's a really amazing time. I remember a few years ago, I had a few drinks and watched this movie with my sister, and
why is she so tiny? Why are the stairs so
There really is only one pretty princess.
Shut up. Shut up, Chloe.
that whole experience kind of inspired this channel. I personally have never laughed so hard in my life. If you have a girls' night watching a Bratz movie while yelling obscenities at the TV, please video it and send the videos to me on Instagram because I will die laughing. I also made a video about the Bratz live action movie, which was also stupid, in case you want to watch that beautiful mess. As always, I'm going to break down the plot and be an asshole for the next 20 minutes. Let's get to it. This movie opens up with the Bratz ensemble inefficiently washing a car. They are dressed to perform at a concert because we learn that they're in a band appropriately named Bratz Rock Angelz. I feel like it was poor planning on their part to wash their car the day of their show, but you know, whatever. All of a sudden, their hit song comes on the radio, and suddenly we're just gonna stop what we're doing and start jamming out. In this movie, jamming out takes priority over everything else. My favorite thing about this movie is that we have 5 people in a band, and they all play the electric guitar. We don't have a bassist, a drummer. I don't even know who the singer's supposed to be. And child me was thinking, yes, this is correct. Then one of them is like, are you wondering how fashionistas like us became rock stars?
Wondering how the girls with a passion for fashion became rock stars?
Actually, no, I wasn't. I didn't even think to question your rock star status, but if you want to let me know how it happened, sure. Our story starts at the mall. Where else? Chloe, Sasha, and Yasmin are all reading each other's horoscopes and talking about boys. Chloe has an arterial explosion. Whatever that is. Jade comes up to tell the girls about her new summer magazine internship that she's super stoked about. The 5th girl from a minute ago, she doesn't show up in this movie for a very long time. So more on that later. We're then immediately thrusted into the introduction of the Tweevils, who are massive assholes and also stupid. Would we have it any other way? One of them is named Casey, and she wears a Band-Aid on her nose because she's had 3 nose jobs that all went terribly wrong. And she also gets hit in the face with stuff all the time. Isn't that really pathetic and dumb? You guys, I was gonna do a gag where I had a Band-Aid on my face because my name is also Casey, but I just feel like you can't even really see it on the camera. Whatever.
Who's here? The fashion freaks. Yeah!
Wow, I can't believe they said that. It's really mean. Out of nowhere, Chloe decides to break the 4th wall to tell us about her crush, Cameron.
See the guy on the right? That's Cameron. We met in 2nd grade.
And Chloe is the only one that does this throughout the movie. So I'm not really sure, like, is she the main character? I don't know. And it always feels really out of place. All I really know about Cameron is that he's good at skateboarding and he knows how to do a lot of tricks on the skateboard. He always hangs out with his best friend, Dylan, who also skateboards. Dylan is also really stupid and always seems lost and unaware of his surroundings.
Watch out!
Great, guess who's gonna have to call the doctor for a 4th time? This is gonna happen at least 5,000 more times. Jade starts her new magazine internship, but she quickly realizes that it's not at all what she expected. She thinks that she's gonna walk in and run the entire thing.
Taking off at clubs, do a quiz fest. Stop! Your thing is my magazine. And your title is nothing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I think Jade's expectations for interning at a magazine are a bit high, because she comes in right out of the gate expecting to have any kind of input for what I'm assuming is Bratz Vogue. And her boss is like, sorry girl, you are not important enough to make any business decisions, and I already hate you. We find out that the Tweevils will also be interning for the summer. Wow, couldn't have seen that one coming. Already there's clear favoritism. The Tweevils get one fun fashion-related task, while Jade has to do all of the boring work. This includes things like vacuuming, making copies of stuff, you know, like pretty basic things that would be a lot easier if the Tweevils weren't spending all their time terrorizing her. They even wrote a column for fashion do's and don'ts, and the don't part is just Jade. The forced Jade hate in this work environment is completely unwarranted, by the way. I feel like I'm watching a hate crime when I'm watching this movie. Jade calls Chloe 2 hours into the workday, and she's thinking about quitting already since everyone is singling her out. Chloe's like, no girl, keep going, you got this. And yeah, of course she would feel so like calm about this, because I need to point out how much day drinking propaganda there is in this movie.
Try to hang in there. This is your dream, remember? Yeah, you're right. This is my dream.
It's 11 a.m., Chloe. Can you calm down? The Tweevils were also sitting in the bathroom stall listening to Jade's conversation, and then they make fun of her.
And Kirsty and Casey are so nasty.
My immediate thought is like, what were you all doing in there? Why were you both in the stall? It's a stall for one per, whatever, I don't care. But Jade's day just gets progressively worse as the bullying continues, and she is tasked to get Burdine some lunch, but the Tweevils, they offer to order the food for her so that Jade can pick it up.
Do you guys know what Burdine likes for lunch? Sure, we'll phone in the order.
In case it isn't obvious, this is a trap, and they are very pleased with themselves. I just feel like they do cocaine. They just always act like they just did a line. Jade brings Burdine a quarter pounder with cheese, which is a fireable offense. Jade, did you walk into that McDonald's thinking, yes, this is absolutely something this woman would eat? I feel like you're smarter than that, Jade. At least I would hope so. Carbs! This was pre-Ozempic era, so carbs were a first-degree felony in 2005. This, of course, warrants a North Korean sentence barring multiple generations from her lineage from ever working there.
You are fired for life. In fact, even your children and your grandchildren are.
Welcome to the fashion industry, Jade. That's just how things are around here. We get a brief moment of Jade's friends consoling her, and then we get thrusted into what I thought was going to be a shopping montage, but no. They already made their purchases. The Bratz are serving as expected, and then they suddenly run into the Tweevils, who are also shopping but are wearing the exact same thing as before. They exchange some snarky remarks, calling Jade a dumb fucking loser.
What are you gonna do now that your career in fashion is like so over?
Get the off my property, you skanky ass bitch.
So the girls are day drinking again. Love that. When Yasmin throws around the idea of starting their own magazine in spite of Jade getting fired, which they start losing their fucking minds over. Until Chloe is like, hey guys, what about an office? we literally don't even have an office.
Reality check? What about an office? No way we can afford one.
Time to scrap everything. It was a dumb idea anyways. But don't worry, everyone, because Sasha conveniently has access to an office in a high-rise and never explains how. I'm not familiar with Bratz lore, but I think Sasha's parents launder money from the cartel. And apparently the office space that Sasha has access to is in the same building as Burdine's magazine.
If she sees me, I'm beyond dead.
Not only that, they get into the elevator and they're like a foot away from Burdine. Jade starts dragging her wig through the mud while she's standing right there. She's not even 5 feet away from her walking away.
I am so glad to be out of there. Burdine likes to think of herself as the reigning queen.
As if she wouldn't notice her ex-employee as of that morning being right there. But no, she wouldn't, because this is a movie for kids and she's an idiot. The girls get to Sasha's rockin' office space that probably costs $1 million to rent, but come to find out, It's a crack house. Chloe clearly has never been in a place like this before.
What are we going to do? This place is so beyond help.
She's from the Upper East Side. Her favorite show is Friends.
Yo! Drama mama! Snap out of—
I thought she was gonna hit her. Who let it get in this condition? Sasha, what the hell is going on? But no worries, because the Bratz can do anything, which includes renovating a condemned dungeon. During this renovation montage, I would also like to add that absolutely nothing gets done that we can see. Chloe is dumping green paint on the wall. Dylan is shooting cement out of a gun. Because actually, what are we doing? Can somebody find an adult? And just like magic, everything's done. New flooring, new walls, new furniture. And I just want to remind you all that Jade was fired this morning. The power of friendship always prevails. Just when things started to look great for the girls' new magazine, the Tweevils show up.
Starting a magazine? Sorry we won't be around to make you get fired in less than a day.
Then there's a point where they're sitting in the bathroom talking mad shit about Berdine.
I bet she's had lipo and a facelift and her lips silicone.
My favorite line was when she referred to Berdine's lips as big fat rotting sausages.
That's why they look like big fat rotting sausages.
The Tweevils would have loved Ozempic. So they're like piling on this mad shit about Berdine, but notice that her shoes are in the stall, so they assume that Berdine heard them talk about her plastic surgery in a very negative way. But turns out it was just the girls pranking them because Jade forgot to return Berdine's shoes after she was tasked to shine them.
Ew!
So she just never gave them back. And then because of this misunderstanding, the Tweevils think Berdine heard all of this and act all weird around her and apologize, but she's like, what are you guys talking about? And then they repeat all of the stuff they said about her, like her lips looking like fat sausages and that she looks 30.
30? You think I'm 30?
This is the start of many shenanigans with Berdine and the Tweevils just like acting crazy, and it doesn't really do anything for the plot, but I guess we don't really care about that.
Any ideas on what to call our fab new magazine? How about Sasha?
You know what, maybe the magazine should be called Sasha, being that she somehow provided an office space in a prime location, but that's just my opinion. They all agree on the name Bratz for the magazine, because that's the name of the doll franchise. So we're nearly halfway through the movie, by the way, and still have a plot completely unrelated to the girls starting an all-guitar rock band. Moving along with this riveting plot, though, the girls dig through Berdine's mail and find an all-expense-paid trip to London for some fashion thing. And then they're just gonna, like, take it, and I guess that's fine. They're just gonna take the trip and go. They're also supposed to be in the 8th grade based on the dialogue.
We survived 7th grade.
And the only adult that I've seen so far had a meltdown after making eye contact with a cheeseburger. So that's where we are. I think the lack of plot explanation makes this so much better though. Like, why are Cameron and Dylan there? On the plane, Chloe and Cameron are flirting and talking about all the fun things that they're gonna be doing together in London, but uh-oh, hottie alert.
I'm Nigel Forrester, the 9th Duke of Essex.
Hottie alert. My horoscope did say a handsome—
Yeah, she does that fourth wall breaking thing again. Mr. England is also the beginning of why Chloe starts to piss me off in this movie. The girls get to the hotel, they lose their shit because the room is super nice and they're in London. So, you know, they're gonna go sightseeing. See what London has to offer. Please don't mess with the royal guards, by the way. They would beat the absolute shit out of Sasha for doing this. He's holding a weapon. Okay, so this is the part in the movie where two things happen. The magazine idea starts to fall apart when actual work is involved, and also Chloe turns into a giant asshole.
Mom, I am not wearing those rubber boots you snuck in my suitcase. Nigel.
I think that she was always a giant asshole, but you know, that's up for debate. The girls are on a business trip. They literally just discussed the plan for scouting out locations to put in their magazine or something. I guess they're just gonna make the magazine about London and its many places to visit. Like, what is this magazine about? Right after Yasmin and Chloe were about to go look for places to talk about in their magazine section, or I don't know, Nigel, the rich British guy, calls Chloe, and without hesitation, Chloe drops everything to hang out with this dude. This throws the Bratz for a loop because they want to be supportive, but also she's holding up the entire group. Like, she gets back and she can't wait to tell her friends about her dinner date, But my understanding is that they all stopped everything to just wait for Chloe to get back because they're in the same spot they were before. Yasmin reminds Chloe about their plans and she's like, hey, are we still going to the Ferris wheel tomorrow for the magazine? But guess what? Chloe already made plans with Nigel to go to his family's castle. So she says, okay, no problem. Let's reschedule for the afternoon. You see what's happening so quickly? Like, it didn't take long for Chloe to choose money over her friends. Chloe doesn't give a single fuck. What friends? She's gonna be 12th in line for the crown. Yasmin calls and is ripping Chloe a new asshole because she was supposed to meet her at the Ferris wheel and it's past 4 p.m. This is 3 strikes and you're out, Chloe. No more London fashion baseball for you. Yasmin decides that Chloe is useless and that she's gonna do the story herself. And she also finds a dog who was owned by some dude that was on the plane that Berdine and the Tweevils were on. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you all. So the Tweevils and Berdine came too, but they were like given a yucky room and Berdine's dog peed on the bed. I don't know, during the entire movie, Berdine and the Tweevils keep trying to infiltrate the girls' plans, but look more and more stupid. So it feels irrelevant to bring them up every 5 seconds. So at this point in the story, the magazine starts to unravel because everybody's having issues. Jade and Sasha, they're always fighting because Sasha is not letting Jade make any decisions. And she's also taking over their entire share of the project.
You are the biggest, bossiest I've ever met.
I don't know, I feel like maybe Sasha should have been paired up with Chloe. Chloe is in old money land. She is on another plane of existence. She does not care about the Bratz right now, which leaves Yasmin to do all of the work herself. Quick reminder that this is the first actual project that this group has ever attempted to complete for their magazine, so it seems like they're not very good business partners. As if this wasn't chaotic enough, Nigel is hanging with the girls in their hotel room, and both Chloe and Nigel are just annoying the absolute shit out of everybody. Chloe's also talking in a fake British accent, which would piss me off.
Anyone care to join me?
I'm so sick of this bitch.
I would beat the shit out of Chloe. Yasmin is like, bro, can you get the fuck out? We are so busy. We do not need you here.
Isn't that true, pretty princess?
I don't know. I've never played.
Nigel reads the room. He decides that he is overstayed his welcome. And a full, much-needed brawl breaks out between the girls. And their issues stem from a lack of proper delegation, but also Chloe blowing everybody off. Chloe has legit done fuck all for this magazine. The only thing who has done anything, by the way, is Yasmin, who took maybe 20 minutes to write one article. And the breaking point was that Chloe canceled on the event that they literally flew to London for because she wanted to hang out with Nigel.
Nigel's brother is giving a dinner party tomorrow and I promised I'd go.
Are you serious? 40 minutes into the movie and no band yet, by the way. The girls are fighting. The girls are fighting. The girls are fighting. No clue what's going on in this montage, okay? Nigel's arms are also really short in this shot, and he has googly eyes for the Tweevils. So I'm not really sure if Chloe's financial plans are gonna go as planned. Jade and Sasha abruptly set aside their differences, and the entire crew goes shopping again. Because what else are they gonna do, right? But they intentionally leave out Chloe, and Chloe does not care. This is what I'm wearing to the 2030 Met Gala when I'm invited. Nigel is like, hey, why aren't you inside? And Chloe is talking about how she's just stepping away and that the fashion event is about to start, so she's just thinking about it or whatever. Doesn't seem like she has any regrets at this very moment. Also, apparently now it's not a fashion event, but it's a punk rock event. And sure, you can gaslight me into believing that that was always the case, but I swear it like changed.
Pins, the most hot new punk rock club.
I wouldn't be caught dead at some tacky punk rock club.
But then Nigel talks about how the event is for poor people anyways, and Chloe took that personally. She goes, hey, dude, that's not cool. He says, guess what? Your friends are ugly and stupid.
Those misfits.
So one of the Tweevils comes out and suddenly Short Arms doesn't care about Chloe. And that is what made Chloe realize that she lost her way. She didn't think about how shitty of a friend she was being at any point in this movie until she realized that the chances of her inheriting Nigel's assets was -5%. Chloe's like, damn, there's sad music playing. Her heel falls. She takes one look at the heel. She goes, nope, not gonna pick that up.
Missing something. My shoe. You found it.
That's peak writing right there. That's deep. Child me was like, Please let me find love like this. Chloe walks herself to the hotel room and immediately apologizes for not being true to herself or to her friends.
I haven't been true to myself or to you.
No, Chloe. We want you to apologize for wasting everyone's time for some guy that you'll never see again. But they all make up and even got Chloe a cute outfit. 47 minutes in, still no rock band. And I am kind of getting nervous because the movie's almost over. So they get to Pins, which is the punk rock club that they have an invitation for, but the security won't let them in because they're not on the list, even though they have an invite. And Berdine and the Tweevils also show up, and you think that they'd be on the list because they originally had the invite, but the security guy's like, I don't know. I don't know how they decide who's on the list and who's not. Suddenly, the dude from the airplane shows up. You know, the one that owns the dog that Yasmin has been watching. So apparently he's a mega famous celebrity. He's a judge on the Bratz equivalent of American Idol. This guy is supposed to be kind of like a Dollar Tree Simon Cowell figure of sorts, but also he's nice, so the details are a little bit inconsistent. The girls are freaking out. He reunites with his dog, and while all this is happening, Berdine is demanding that the Bratz are arrested for identity theft.
And that you have these brats arrested for impersonation. Don't just stand there like a lump.
Is kind of, I mean, they did use her likeness to get free things, so she's not entirely out of line here. Luckily for the Bratz though, Dollar Tree Simon Cowell lets them inside because he thinks they're cool.
Do you know who I am? I am Birdie Maxwell.
The Bratz asks Simon Cowell if he would do an interview for their magazine. He is fully down. He even gives them backstage passes to the show tomorrow night that I guess they were already going to. It's hard to follow along, honestly. I don't really know what's going on. But before that, Simon Cowell is gonna spend the rest of the night clubbing with a bunch of middle schoolers. Yeah, cool. So the next day, the Bratz are preparing for their big night because they're gonna be covering this concert that we haven't really heard about until 5 minutes ago in their magazine. I don't know. Berdine and the Tweevils, like the rest of the movie, are plotting to sabotage the Bratz again. This time, they wanna steal the tickets for tonight's concert. And if they don't steal the tickets, they're gonna be hung from Big Ben. So they better get those damn tickets. That looks terrifying. So what better way to steal them than to dress up as unassuming maids and sneak into their room? Not that it was hard, given that they left the hotel room wide open. Meanwhile, the girls are hanging out at the park and skateboarding on literal grass. But everyone's dancing, completely unaware that the Tweevils are going through all their stuff. The Tweevils find the tickets, and they are about to book it, when suddenly Yasmin and Dylan walk in. Oh no, what are they gonna do? I love how it takes Dylan a few minutes to notice that the room is slightly destroyed from the Tweevils fighting each other. We never talk about this detail. Yasmin starts freaking out because guess what? The tickets are missing. Dylan isn't really contributing to the situation. He's kind of just in the way. So Yasmin tells Dylan, okay, new plan. I'm gonna go to tell Dollar Store Simon Cowell that we lost the tickets, so that way he can just let us in to the concert. And she tells Dylan to just stay there. So Yasmin tries to find the dude, but the security guard tells her to fuck off, and she becomes really tiny for some reason.
Why is she so tiny? Why are the stairs so
Because I guess she's embarrassed. I mean, who wouldn't be, you know? So Dylan decides to patiently entertain himself by thrashing on the bed and checking himself out. He is exerting a lot of energy, and he is just so distracted with looking at himself that when the Tweevils come crawling out from under the bed, he gives them laundry to wash. So I guess those disguises really did come in handy, because if they didn't dress up as maids, he would have immediately saw who they were. Not a minute goes by later, and the other girls come walking in, and they ask Dylan where Yasmin is. And Dylan hadn't really thought of a lie to tell them.
Bowling.
Bowling?
They are not convinced, so they tickle him until he tells the truth. Jesus. So this leaves the girls all looking for the tickets, assuming Yasmin just misplaced them, until they notice a white Band-Aid on Yasmin's shoe from Casey's bad nose job. Still thinks that's hilarious. So they have come to the conclusion that the tickets were stolen and that there's no way of getting them back.
No, we'll never get the tickets back now. We might as well give up.
I feel like they could have tried stealing them back. They seem to have given up so easily, I guess. Apparently the only other way to get into this venue without tickets is if you're in a band. So the easiest possible solution for the Bratz is to start a rock band and then show up as the rock band.
Let's become a rock band!
Where do I even begin with this? I just want to give you all a time check. We just introduced the rock band plot element, and we're an hour into this movie. The movie has 15 minutes left. Okay, whatever. Now they have 4 hours to write a song and to convince the bouncer that they are a real band.
We got less than 4 hours to put together a slamming song and convince that bouncer that we're the real thing.
I guess you just have to be in a real band to get into the concert. It can be any band, I guess. Not necessarily a band that's performing. During the last 15 minutes of the movie, we just kind of forget about the magazine thing for a minute. We are now in a rock band that only has guitars. No other instruments will be used in the band. They get into the concert, which is the same venue as the club they were just at. I'm sure this was explained earlier, but I wasn't paying attention. So you remember that 5th member of the band that we saw in the beginning shot of the movie? Yeah, so that's Roxy, and we meet Roxy here. So it turns out that Roxy is in a band called Crash, but right before she was supposed to perform, the band suddenly breaks up. What a coincidence. But wait a minute, surprise, surprise? Surprise, surprise! Conveniently, the Bratz Rock Angels now exist as of 5 minutes ago and have everything prepared to let her join their band. Yes, Roxy, an established famous artist, is going to join their band, not the other way around. They even had signs made with their branding. That's crazy. The Bratz can just do anything, I guess, because that turnaround time is insane. Berdine and the Tweevils also show up to get into the concert with the tickets that they stole, and Berdine is dressed like she's supposed to be snorkeling. I don't know why. I think that she's legitimately losing her marbles. It's now time for the big performance featuring a song that was written an hour ago. And we hear other instruments playing in the background, but we only see guitars. And I definitely predicted this. Why so many guitars? You only need one. As if that's not insane enough, these graphics during their performance go really hard. My favorite is when the Bratz jump out of a moving plane without parachutes. We got street racing and no one's paying attention to the road. It's all just vibes, and that's all we need. At the end of the movie, it's just Chloe recapping everything that happened, probably because even after watching this, I don't know what happened. I'm still confused. And Berdine and the Tweevils are losers who eat cheeseburgers. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I don't know what went on in that movie. I still don't know what went on. And I think that like any other movie for this demographic at the time, the plot is not important. Okay, as long as everything that happens on the screen is visually interesting, it doesn't matter. Why do all the band members have guitars? My question to you would be, why not? I think it's very clear that this movie existed to sell dolls and only to sell dolls, and that's why all the girls had guitars, because kids don't understand how things work. Kids are fucking dumb, okay? And they're more likely to buy the doll that has a guitar. So they just gave them all guitars. So there you have it, Bratz Rock Angels. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.